answering questions. That's my intro. Well, yeah.
That's the intro. Good.
Well, we don't know what the questions are, so let's find out. Let's do it. Oh, okay. How do you prepare physically and vocally for performance?
Well, you first.
Me first. Okay. Are we making a pile of used questions? Okay. I don't know. I do different things depending on the scenario. For example, today we are filming our music video. So for that one, I didn't really need to do a lot to physically prepare, aside from get myself ready.
And part of that, I suppose, because you're playing on the beach.
Yeah, it very much is. Like, yeah, for the album when recording it, lots of vocally warming up. Some of the songs are big sings. But just trying to get as much energy and life into me as possible is always what I do before a performance. Because, when you're performing, whether it's just your voice that the audience is hearing, or it's for film, or if it's a live theatre thing on stage, you need to have like 110 energy levels through the roof to actually come across with any form of storytelling. Because it's always easier to be like, oh, I'm insane, I'll just dial that back a bit. But like when you walk out onto a stage or a set, I always just want to be through the roof energy so that I can have the option of dialing it back. There's nothing worse than trying to lug energy out of yourself when you're dead. There's nothing worse.
Yeah, which is interesting because I'm not a big prepper.
Yeah, you never have. Right?
And that's but it also probably comes from the fact that you're trained in all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and my journey's been like self-learning thing and learning how to learning how to write songs by writing songs, learning how to do shows by doing shows, learning how to perform by performing, as opposed to doing any of the training stuff that you do. So, and I think it's probably why this works. Probably.
And I guess you probably do your preparation things. You just don't think of it as preparing. Like it's just what you've always done.
Mary is such a well-known and loved historical figure, at least in paleo circles. How do you find the balance between the known facts of her life and the story you'd like to tell? What did you do to get into her head and develop a voice that is engaging and respectful but also authentic? So there's a few bits to that.
Yeah.
How do you find the balance between the known facts of her life and the story you'd like to tell? So there's probably a bit for me to talk about first, and then you to talk about the other stuff. One of the really important things with telling stories about historical characters is that you have to, where there are known facts, those are immutable. They stay. So you have to, and while Mary's well known, there's not a huge amount known about what did she do on Tuesday, March the 5th in 1821. We don't know a lot about, do you know what I mean? So for most historical characters, even somebody like Napoleon, we don't know lots and lots and lots about their daily routines and stuff. And so with Mary, we know some stuff. We know she did the fossiling stuff, she wrote some things, she drew some things. So there were a lot of gaps. And part of, and I suppose because I've been doing this for a long time, this kind of style of thing, is that you get to play in the gaps. You get to dance in the gaps, I often describe it as. What's really important is that when you're dancing in the gaps, the dance needs to be consistent with the other facts. So firstly, the facts are immutable, but secondly, it needs to be something that is plausible.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that's plausible in the context of the time. So, for example, you wouldn't have Mary Anning jumping on a spaceship and fly. Do you know what I mean? So it's about that plausibility. So the next part of the question, this is for you, Mary. What did you do to get into her head and develop a voice that is engaging and respectful but also authentic?
I'm not really sure because, myself personally, I don't have a background in science and paleontology, and the way that we got there was through your passion and your research into that. So for me, I was just focusing on trying to make a real human being. I did a lot, I love like period pieces, like movies and TV shows and stuff. And I just remember I watched Little Women when it came out in 2020, so the new version of it. And at the time we had like recently had a conversation about Mary Anning, and it was when this was all first starting initially. And I watched it New Year's Day, like bang on when it came out. And I just remember watching it and being like, oh yeah, I can, like, from what I've heard of Mary Anning, I reckon she would be a similar human being to Jo, who's the main character in Little Women. And like I just remember going like, oh, okay. And so then when it actually came around to when we were filming the first like video with Mary Anning, I was like, how can I find the sense of I'm a real human being, I've been through hardship, I keep getting shut down and pushed aside because I'm a woman, without being negative and keeping the fun and lightheartedness to her.
Yeah, because
so that was a lot of my job, was trying to balance like to create a layered human being of like, I've been put down, I've had a hard life, but I'm positive and I'm moving forward and this is my passion and I enjoy doing this, and yeah, trying to layer her up like that so that you can see that she's got more depth to her than just I'm a paleontologist.
And I think there's some moments in that first video that we did where you're leaping off the rocks, and for me that's about the joy.
Yeah.
You know, because Mary, we're dealing with teenage Mary here.
Oh, absolutely.
I suppose the other thing that's kind of relevant to that is that in the writing of the songs, one of the really cool things about being a songwriter is when you're writing for somebody and you know their voice and you know the character they're going to be. So there's those things kind of gel together, don't they?
Absolutely.
So the ballad, the My Dog Trey, I'm writing it and your voice is in my head.
Must be so annoying.
But you know, but in a good way,
yeah.
Not the other ways that it normally is. But so you very much hear that voice, and knowing how you would sing it,
yeah,
for me is very much how kind of we've placed Mary, because you know we don't know if she walked along the beach singing songs.
No idea.
But that's the point of
yeah.
musical theatre and musicals and stuff.